Welcome to this gentle exploration of the most ancient question in human consciousness. Allow yourself to settle deeply. There's nothing you need to understand right now, nothing you need to grasp. Simply rest and listen. Now, we begin a journey into the heart of self-inquiry, a practice that has echoed through thousands of years of Indian wisdom. It is the practice of asking one simple, profound question: who am I? Not what am I? Not how am I? But who? Who is the one asking? Who is the one listening to these words right now? Who is aware of awareness itself? This question is not philosophical in the Western sense. It's not meant to be answered with the mind. It's a key, a doorway, an invitation to look deeper than you've ever looked before. To discover what lies beneath every thought, every feeling, every experience. In the ancient forests of India, thousands of years ago, seekers gathered around fires and asked this same question. They weren't satisfied with the answers society gave them. They weren't content to identify with their roles, their possessions, their achievements. They wanted to know the truth, the ultimate truth of their existence. And what they discovered was extraordinary. They found that the I we take ourselves to be, the person with a name, a history, a personality, is not the deepest truth. It's a construction, a reflection, an appearance in something far more vast. The journey of self-inquiry begins with a simple recognition. You experience the world. You have thoughts, feelings, sensations. But who is having these experiences? Who is the experiencer behind every experience? Most people never ask this question. They live their entire lives identified with the surface, with the changing currents of the mind. They say, I am angry, or I am happy, or I am successful, or I am failing. But the ancient sages discovered something profound. All of these are temporary states passing through something unchanging. You are not your emotions, because you can observe your emotions. You are not your thoughts, because you can watch your thoughts arise and disappear. You are not your body, because you can witness the body sitting, standing, sleeping, aging. So who are you? What is this awareness that witnesses everything? The Indian philosophical tradition developed an extraordinary map of consciousness, layer upon layer of understanding, helping seekers navigate from the surface of the mind to the depths of pure being. And at the heart of this tradition is a distinction between what you appear to be and what you truly are. There is the ego, the constructed sense of me that feels separate from everything else. This ego says, I am this body. I am these thoughts. I am this person. But the ego is unstable. It changes from moment to moment. In one moment it feels proud, in another ashamed. In one moment confident, in another afraid. The ego is what you think you are. But it's not what you actually are. Beneath the ego lies the jiva, the individual soul, the experiencing self that moves through life. The jiva is the one who acts, who chooses, who suffers and enjoys. The jiva is caught in the cycle of birth and death, experiencing pleasure and pain, seeking happiness, avoiding suffering. But even the jiva is not the final truth. Because beneath the jiva, beneath all the layers of personality and experience, there is something deeper. Something unchanging. Something infinite. The ancient sages called it Atman, the true self with a capital S, not the small self of the ego, not even the experiencing self of the jiva, but the pure awareness that illuminates everything. The consciousness that makes all experience possible. And here's the revolutionary insight at the heart of Indian philosophy. This Atman, this innermost essence of who you are, is not separate from the ultimate reality of the universe. The consciousness within you is the same consciousness that pervades all existence. There's a beautiful saying from the Upanishads, the ancient wisdom texts, Tat Tvam Asi, that thou art. The ultimate reality and you are not two different things. You are that infinite consciousness, temporarily appearing as this individual person. Think of it like the ocean and the waves. Each wave has its own shape, its own momentary existence. The wave rises, it has its moment, and it falls back into the ocean. While it exists, the wave might think, I am separate. I am this particular wave, different from all other waves. But what is the wave made of? Water. And what is the ocean made of? Water. The wave is not separate from the ocean, it's a temporary expression of the ocean. And when the wave subsides, it doesn't disappear. It simply returns to what it always was, ocean. In the same way, you are not separate from the infinite consciousness. You are a wave in the ocean of awareness, temporarily appearing as this individual person, but never truly separate from the whole. This recognition is the goal of self-inquiry. Not to become something new, not to achieve some special state, but to recognize what has always been true. You have always been the infinite consciousness, you've just forgotten. You've been so identified with the wave that you forgot you are the ocean. The question, who am I, is designed to wake you up from this forgetting. Every time you ask it sincerely, every time you turn your attention inward, you begin to loosen the grip of identification. You begin to see through the illusion of separation. In the early Vedic period, spiritual practice focused on external rituals, on maintaining cosmic order through sacrifices and ceremonies. But then came the Upanishads, and everything changed. The focus shifted from external action to internal realization, from trying to please the gods to discovering the divine within. The Upanishads asked, what is it that doesn't change? What persists through all the changes of life? Your body changes, your thoughts change, your circumstances change. But something remains constant. Something witnesses all these changes without itself changing. That witnessing presence, that unchanging awareness, that is what you truly are. And the discovery of this truth brings a freedom that nothing else can provide. Because when you know yourself as the unchanging witness, the changing circumstances of life can no longer bind you. You are not trying to stop the waves, you are recognizing yourself as the ocean. The waves continue, thoughts continue, emotions continue, life continues. But you are no longer identified with them. You are resting as the spacious awareness in which everything appears. This is not a belief system, it's not something to accept on faith. It's something to be discovered directly, through your own investigation. Through the practice of self-inquiry, you can verify this truth for yourself. Not by thinking about it, but by looking directly at your own experience. Right now, as you listen to these words, there is an awareness present. This awareness knows that listening is happening. It knows that the body is relaxing. It knows that thoughts may be arising or subsiding. This awareness, this knowing presence, is always here. It was here when you were a child, it's here now, it will be here when you are old. It doesn't age, it doesn't change, it simply is. This is the I behind all your experiences, the subject that can never become an object. The ancient sages discovered that this awareness is not personal, it's not yours in the way your thoughts or body are yours. It's the universal consciousness, appearing as your individual experience. Like the sun's light reflecting in many mirrors, the light is one, but the reflections appear many. So the question, "Who am I?" is an invitation to shift your identity from the reflection to the light itself. From the wave to the ocean. From the temporary appearance to the eternal reality. This shift doesn't happen through force, it happens through gentle, persistent inquiry. Through asking the question again and again, not seeking an answer from the mind, but allowing the question to dissolve the questioner. Until all that remains is pure being, pure awareness, pure presence. The journey may seem long, the path may seem difficult. But in truth, there's nowhere to go. You are already what you are seeking. The awareness you are looking for is the awareness that's looking. You are already home, you've just been dreaming you were somewhere else. Rest now, in this simple recognition. There's nothing to achieve, nothing to become. Simply be aware that you are aware. That's all. That simple awareness, that's your true nature. That's who you really are. Let the mind soften, let thoughts come and go like clouds across the sky. And recognize yourself as the sky, vast, open, unchanging. Forever free, forever home. Be still and know. Welcome back to this gentle unfolding of self-understanding. Take a deep breath. Let your body sink deeper into relaxation. There's no effort needed here, only a soft, receptive awareness. In our last segment, we asked the foundational question, "Who am I?" Now, we explore the layers of identity, the various levels of the I that we experience, and how to distinguish between what we appear to be and what we truly are. The ancient Indian philosophers were extraordinarily precise in their analysis of consciousness. They understood that the journey from ignorance to enlightenment required a clear map, a way to navigate through the different layers of selfhood until we reach the core. Imagine an onion, layer upon layer wrapped around a center. Or imagine Russian nesting dolls, each one containing another, smaller doll inside. This is how the sages understood the human being, as layers of identity, each one more subtle than the last. The outermost layer is the physical body, the flesh and bones, the sensory organs. This is what most people identify with when they say, I am this body. I am tall or short, young or old, healthy or sick. The body is the most obvious, most tangible aspect of our existence. But are you really the body? The sages asked this question carefully. When you say, "My body," who is the owner and what is the owned? You say, "My hand, my eyes, my leg." If the body is yours, then you cannot be the body. The owner is different from the owned. Moreover, the body is constantly changing. The cells that make up your body now are not the same cells that made up your body 7 years ago. Every molecule has been replaced, and yet, you feel like the same person. Something remains continuous, something that witnesses the body's changes without itself changing. So you are not the body, even though you experience through the body. You are something that has a body, not something that is a body. Moving inward, the next layer is the vital energy, the breath, the life force that animates the body. In Sanskrit, it's called prana. When you are alive, this energy flows. When it departs, the body becomes lifeless. This is why breath is so central to yogic practices. It's the bridge between body and mind. But are you the breath? Again, observe carefully. You can watch your breath, slow and deep when you are relaxed, quick and shallow when you are anxious. You can control your breath, hold it, release it. The one who watches the breath cannot be the breath itself. You are the observer of the breath, not the breath itself. Deeper still, we come to the mind, the layer of thoughts, emotions, memories, imagination. This is where most people locate their identity. I am my thoughts, they say. I am my feelings, my memories, my personality. The mind is a powerful instrument. It thinks, feels, remembers, plans, creates. It's the lens through which you interpret the world. But the ancient sages made a crucial discovery. The mind itself is an object of observation. You can watch your thoughts. You can witness your emotions arise and subside. When you are angry, you can observe the anger. When you are happy, you can observe the happiness. This means you cannot be the mind, because the seer is always different from the seen. You are the awareness that knows the mind, not the mind itself. This is where things get interesting. The Indian philosophical tradition, particularly the Sankhya school, made a fundamental distinction between two eternal principles, Purusha and Prakriti. Prakriti is nature, everything that changes, everything that evolves, everything that has form. This includes the physical body, the breath, the mind, the intellect, even the ego. All of this is Prakriti, the seen, the object, the not-self. Purusha is pure consciousness, the unchanging witness, the eternal seer. Purusha doesn't act, doesn't change, doesn't evolve. It simply is, the light of awareness that illuminates everything. The suffering of human existence, according to Sankhya, comes from confusing these two. We mistake the activities of Prakriti, the movements of body and mind, for our true self. We identify with what changes, and because what changes is inherently unstable, we suffer. Liberation comes through viveka, discrimination. Through learning to distinguish clearly between the seer and the seen, between consciousness and its contents. Once this discrimination becomes firm, once you recognize yourself as Purusha rather than Prakriti, suffering ends. But there's another layer we need to examine carefully, perhaps the most subtle and most deceptive. This is the ego, what Sanskrit calls ahimkara, literally, the I-maker. The ego is the function of mind that creates the sense of individuality, the sense of being a separate person. It's the voice that says, I am this and I am not that. I am successful or I am a failure. I like this or I don't like that. The ego is what generates the feeling of being someone, a distinct entity with preferences, opinions, a history, a future. Without the ego, you couldn't navigate the world. You couldn't function as an individual person. So the ego serves a purpose, but it's not what you truly are. The ego is constructed, built up from experiences, memories, social conditioning, identifications. It's like a mask you wear, a role you play. And like any construction, it's inherently unstable. Watch your ego for a moment. Notice how it changes based on circumstances. When someone praises you, the ego inflates, you feel good, confident, worthy. When someone criticizes you, the ego deflates, you feel hurt, diminished, defensive. The ego is constantly in motion, seeking approval, avoiding rejection, trying to maintain a certain image. It's exhausting, this constant effort to be someone, to prove something, to maintain our identity. And here's the crucial insight: the ego is absent in certain states. In deep sleep, there is no ego, no sense of, I am this person. Yet you still exist. When you wake up, you don't cease to exist, you simply return to the ego identification. This proves that your existence doesn't depend on the ego. The ego is an appearance in you, not what you fundamentally are. So if you're not the body, not the breath, not the mind, not even the ego, then what are you? The ancient texts give us a name for what remains when all these layers are peeled away: Atman. The true self, the innermost essence, the pure awareness that illuminates everything. Atman is described as the silent witness. Sakshi in Sanskrit. It's the awareness that knows when you are awake, when you are dreaming, and even when you are in deep sleep. It's the continuity of consciousness that persists through all states, all experiences, all changes. The witness is like space, unchanging, unlimited, containing everything but not touched by anything. Objects move through space, but space remains unaffected. In the same way, experiences move through your awareness, but the awareness itself remains pristine, untouched, forever free. This witness consciousness is not personal. It's not yours in the way your thoughts or body are yours. It's the universal awareness, the fundamental consciousness that pervades all existence. And the recognition that this awareness is your true nature, this is the goal of self-inquiry. There's a beautiful teaching in Advaita Vedanta about reflected consciousness. The mind, in its pure state, is like a mirror, inert, unconscious. But when the light of consciousness reflects in the mirror of the mind, that reflection appears as individual awareness. You experience yourself as a person, with thoughts, feelings, memories. But this experience is like seeing the sun reflected in a pool of water. The reflection appears separate, but it's not a second sun. It's the same sun, reflected in a particular medium. In the same way, the awareness you experience as your consciousness is not separate from universal consciousness. It's the one infinite awareness, reflected in the particular mirror of your mind-body organism. This is why different people have different experiences, different perspectives, not because there are multiple consciousnesses, but because the one consciousness is reflected in different mirrors. The mirrors vary, but the light is the same. Bondage occurs when you mistake the reflection for the original. When you think, I am this limited person, you are identifying with the reflection rather than the source. Liberation is recognizing that you are the original consciousness, not the reflection. When the mirror breaks, when the body dies, the reflection disappears. But the original light remains completely unaffected. This is why the realized sages have no fear of death. They know themselves as the deathless awareness, not the temporary reflection. So the practice of self-inquiry is about shifting your identity from the layers to the core, from the reflection to the light, from the wave to the ocean. Each time you ask, who am I? You are invited to let go of a layer of false identification. I am not this body. The body is an appearance in me. I am not these thoughts. Thoughts are appearances in me. I am not this ego. The ego is an appearance in me. What remains when all appearances are recognized as such? Pure being, pure awareness, pure presence. The simple, undeniable fact of existence itself. Not existence as a thing, but existence as the ground of all things. The am in I am, before any description, before any limitation. This is what you truly are. Not a person who has awareness, but awareness itself, temporarily appearing as a person. Not consciousness contained in a body, but consciousness containing the body, the world, everything. Rest now in this understanding. Let the layers soften and dissolve. You don't need to reject them forcefully, simply see them for what they are. Appearances in you, not what you are. And as the layers become transparent, as identification loosens, you discover what has always been here. The vast, open, peaceful awareness, your true home, your real nature. Be still and rest as what you are. Welcome to this continuing journey into the depths of self-understanding. Allow your breath to flow naturally, your body to rest completely. In this moment, there's nothing to do, only to be. We've explored the question, who am I? And we've examined the layers of false identification. Now, we turn to one of the most ancient and powerful methods of self-inquiry, Neti Neti. Not this, not this. This phrase comes from the Brihadaranyaka Upanishad, one of the oldest wisdom texts of India. It's a method of negation, a systematic stripping away of everything that is not the self, until only the self remains. Imagine you are searching for something precious you've lost in a cluttered room. You might look through the clutter, setting aside each object one by one. Not this, not this, not this. Eventually, by eliminating everything that is not what you are looking for, you find what you seek. The path of Neti Neti works the same way. You examine each aspect of your experience and ask, is this the self? Is this who I truly am? And through careful discrimination, you recognize, not this, this is an appearance, an object, a passing phenomenon. The self must be the subject, the witness, the unchanging background. Let's practice this together, gently, without force. Simply observe and recognize. Notice your body. Feel the weight of your body resting, the sensation of breath moving. The body is here, tangible, present. But is this body the self? The sages say, Neti, Neti, not this. The body had a birth, it will have a death. The body was a baby once, it grew, it ages, it changes constantly. But you, the awareness that knows the body, were you ever born? Will you ever die? Can awareness itself age? The body is something you have, something you experience. But you are the one having the body, experiencing through the body. The owner is not the owned. Therefore, not this body. The body is an appearance in you, not what you are. Rest with this recognition. The body continues, sensations continue. But you are beginning to see that you are not limited to this form. You are the awareness that knows the form. Now notice the breath, the rhythmic flow of life force, moving in and out. The breath is intimate, it seems so connected to your sense of being alive. But is the breath the self? Neti, Neti, not this. The breath comes and goes, each breath is born and dies. Sometimes the breath is deep, sometimes shallow. In deep sleep, the breathing continues automatically without your conscious attention. But the awareness of the breath, where does that come from? Who is aware of the breath? You are not the breath, you are the awareness that knows the breath. The breath is an object of your attention, therefore, not the subject. Not this. Let this sink in gently. The breath is happening in you, through you. But it's not what you fundamentally are. Now turn your attention to thoughts. Notice how thoughts arise in the mind. Memories, plans, images, words. The mind is constantly active, constantly producing content. But is this mental activity the self? Neti, Neti, not this. Thoughts come and go, they appear and disappear like clouds across the sky. Sometimes the mind is busy, sometimes quiet. In deep sleep, thoughts cease entirely, yet you continue to exist. If thoughts come and go, if they can be present or absent, they cannot be the essential self. Moreover, you can observe your thoughts. Right now, you can notice, there's a thought, there's another thought. The ability to witness thoughts proves you are not the thoughts themselves. The witness is always distinct from what is witnessed. Thoughts are appearances in you, movements in the space of your awareness. But the awareness itself is not a thought. Therefore, not this. Not these thoughts, not this thinking mind. Rest here for a moment. Notice the space between thoughts. The gap where thoughts are absent, but awareness remains. This gap is closer to your true nature than any thought could be. Now look at emotions, feelings that arise in your experience. Perhaps there's peace right now, or perhaps some restlessness. Maybe contentment, maybe a trace of anxiety. Whatever feelings are present, are they the self? Neti, Neti, not this. Emotions are like weather patterns, they come and they go. Happiness arises and fades, sadness comes and passes. Anger flares and subsides. But you, the awareness that knows these emotions, do you come and go? Do you change with every feeling? You can observe your emotions, you can witness yourself being happy or sad, peaceful or disturbed. This proves emotions are objects of awareness, not awareness itself. They are experiences happening to you, not what you are. Emotions are waves on the surface of the ocean. The ocean remains vast and deep, unaffected by the waves. In the same way, you are the depth, the emotions are the surface movements. Therefore, not this. Not these feelings, not this emotional energy. Simply notice. Emotions can be present, emotions can be absent. But your presence never comes or goes. Even the sense of being an individual person, this ego, this me, this personality. Is this the self? This is the subtlest and most persistent identification, but still, Neti, Neti, not this. The ego is a construct, a collection of memories, beliefs, preferences, identifications. It's the story you tell about yourself. I am this kind of person, I like this, I don't like that, I have this history. But this story is constantly being edited, constantly changing. The ego you identify with today is different from the ego of your childhood. Your preferences have changed, your beliefs have evolved, your sense of yourself has shifted. If the ego changes, it cannot be the unchanging self. Moreover, in deep sleep, the ego completely dissolves. There's no sense of being a particular person, no me with a story. Yet something persists, awareness itself continues. When you wake up, you can say, I slept well. Who is this I that knew the sleep, if the ego was absent? The ego is a useful tool for navigating the world, but it's not what you are. It's like software running on a computer. The computer exists regardless of what software is running. In the same way, you exist regardless of what ego structure is present. Therefore, not this ego. Not this sense of being a separate person. Not this personality, this character in the story of life. Let this recognition settle deeply. You are not any of these appearances. Not the body, not the breath, not the thoughts, not the emotions, not even the ego sense. So what remains? After all this negation, after setting aside everything that is not the self, what is left? Pure awareness, simple being, the undeniable presence of existence itself. Not existence as a thing that exists, but existence as the ground of all things. The amness, the isness, the sheer fact of being. This awareness is not an object. It cannot be seen, touched, thought, or felt. It is the subject, the witness, the consciousness that knows all objects. It has no qualities, no characteristics, because all qualities and characteristics are objects that appear in it. It is described as infinite, not because it's very large, but because it has no boundaries. Awareness doesn't stop at the edge of your body. It's not contained in your head. It's the open, boundless space in which all experience arises. It is described as eternal, not because it lasts a very long time, but because it exists outside of time. Time itself appears in awareness. Thoughts of past and future arise in present awareness. But awareness itself is always now, always here, never coming, never going. It is described as blissful, not because it experiences pleasure, but because it is complete in itself. When nothing is needed, when nothing is lacking, when you rest as the fullness of being, this is the natural bliss of existence. Not a feeling that comes and goes, but the peace of your true nature. This is what you are. This is what you've always been. Not something you need to become, not something distant or difficult to reach. Simply the awareness that is reading these words right now, the consciousness that is present in this very moment. The method of Neti Neti doesn't give you something new. It removes what was obscuring what you already are. Like cleaning dust from a mirror, the reflection was always there, just covered. By negating all the false identifications, the true self reveals itself. And here's the beautiful paradox. The self cannot be found by looking for it, because it is the one who is looking. You cannot see it, because you are it. Every attempt to grasp it as an object fails, because it is the eternal subject. So the practice of Neti Neti culminates in a recognition, not a thought or a concept, but a direct seeing. You see clearly, I am not any of these appearances. I am the awareness in which all appearances arise. I am the eternal witness, the unchanging presence, the infinite consciousness that has never been born and can never die. Rest now in this recognition. Don't try to understand it with the mind. Don't make it into another concept to grasp. Simply be, simply rest as the awareness you are. All the layers we've negated, body, breath, mind, emotions, ego, they continue to appear. But now you see them for what they are, appearances in you, not limitations on you. Movements in your awareness, not disturbances to your peace. This is freedom, not freedom from experience, but freedom within experience. The world continues, life continues, but you are no longer identified with the passing show. You are resting as the eternal witness, the screen on which all movies play. Neti, Neti, not this, not this. Until all that remains is the simple, undeniable presence of awareness itself. Be still and rest in this truth. Welcome, once more, to this sacred exploration of your true nature. Take a gentle breath. Let everything soften and settle. There's nothing to achieve here, only to recognize what already is. Now, we turn to one of the most profound teachers of self-inquiry in modern times, Sri Ramana Maharshi. Born in 1879 in South India, Ramana's teachings represent the purest distillation of the ancient practice, direct, simple, and extraordinarily powerful. At the age of 17, Ramana had a spontaneous experience that changed everything. He became suddenly and intensely aware of the fear of death, and instead of pushing it away, he investigated it. He lay down as if dead and asked himself, "What dies? The body will die, but who am I?" In that moment of intense inquiry, he experienced a profound shift. The identification with the body-mind fell away, and what remained was pure, limitless consciousness. From that moment forward, Ramana lived as the self, never again identified with the limited person. For the rest of his life, he taught a remarkably simple method, Atma Vichara, self-inquiry. Just one practice, just one question. But this question, asked sincerely and persistently, has the power to dissolve all ignorance. The question is, who am I? Not, what am I? Not, how am I? But who? Ramana emphasized that this is not an intellectual question to be answered with the mind. It's a direct investigation, a turning of attention back to its source. Most of our attention flows outward, toward objects, people, thoughts, experiences. We are constantly engaged with what appears in awareness, rarely questioning the awareness itself. Self-inquiry is the radical reversal of this habitual movement, turning attention back toward the subject, the I itself. Ramana taught that all thoughts, all experiences, all perceptions arise from one central thought, the I thought. This is the primary thought, the root thought from which all others spring. Before you think, I am hungry, or I am happy, or I am confused, there is simply I. This I is not yet attached to any quality, any state, any condition. It's the bare sense of existence, the feeling of being. And Raman said, if you can trace this I thought back to its source, if you can discover where this I arises from, you will realize your true nature. The practice is elegantly simple. Whenever any thought arises, whenever any emotion appears, whenever you notice yourself identified with something, ask, who is experiencing this? Who is having this thought? To whom does this feeling arise? The answer that immediately comes is, to me. I am having this thought. I am experiencing this feeling. But then, turn the inquiry deeper. Who is this I? Where does this sense of I come from? What is its source? Don't try to answer with words. Don't try to formulate a concept. Simply turn your attention to the sense of I itself. Feel into it, not with thought, but with awareness. Where is this I? What is it made of? As you do this, something extraordinary begins to happen. The attention that was flowing outward toward objects begins to flow inward toward the source. And as it flows inward, thoughts begin to subside. Because thoughts cannot exist without the I thought to support them. Ramana used a beautiful analogy. Imagine you are searching for the source of a river. You start at the ocean, you follow the river upstream, past villages and forests, until eventually you reach its source high in the mountains. In the same way, when you follow the I thought back to its source, you discover the source of all consciousness. And what is that source? It's not another object, not another experience, not another thought. It's the pure awareness that has always been here, the consciousness that makes all experience possible. Ramana called it the self, the heart, the true I that has never been born and can never die. The practice of self-inquiry is different from the method of Neti Neti we explored earlier. Neti Neti uses thought to reject thought. It's a process of intellectual discrimination. But Atma Vichara bypasses thought altogether, it goes directly to the source. Rather than saying, I am not this, I am not that, you simply ask, who am I, and allow the attention to rest in the question. Not looking for an answer, but allowing the question to draw you deeper into your own being. Ramana emphasized that the question, who am I, is not meant to be repeated mechanically like a mantra. It's a living investigation, a constant returning of attention to the sense of I. Every time you notice you've become identified with something, every time you find yourself caught in a thought or emotion, simply ask, who is experiencing this? This question breaks the identification. Because when you ask, who, You are stepping back from whatever you were identified with. You are recognizing that there's an experiencer and what's being experienced. The experiencer cannot be what's experienced. Let's practice this together, gently, naturally. Notice any thought that's present. Maybe it's a thought about what you need to do tomorrow. Maybe it's a memory. Maybe it's just a thought, I should be more relaxed. Whatever thought is there, ask, who is thinking this thought? The immediate answer is, I am. I am thinking this thought. But now, turn the inquiry deeper. Who is this I that thinks? Don't answer with words, simply feel into the sense of I. Where is it? What is it? As you do this, notice what happens. The thought may fade, attention draws inward. There's a sense of turning back toward the source, toward the place where thoughts arise. Now notice any feeling or sensation in the body. Maybe there's a sense of relaxation. Maybe some tension. Whatever you notice, ask, who is aware of this sensation? Again, I am aware. But who is this I? Instead of following the sensation, instead of analyzing it or trying to change it, simply rest attention on the sense of I that knows the sensation. The sensation continues, but your attention is no longer caught in it. You are resting as the awareness that knows the sensation, not identified as the sensation itself. This is the essence of Ramana's teaching. Not trying to suppress thoughts or sensations, but simply asking, to whom do they appear? And discovering that they appear to the I. And then inquiring, what is this I? Ramana said that if you pursue this inquiry with sincerity and persistence, the mind will eventually subside into its source. Like a river flowing into the ocean and becoming still, the individual sense of I merges back into the infinite consciousness from which it arose. This is not a loss, it's a recognition. You don't disappear, you discover what you truly are. The limited I dissolves, and the unlimited I remains. The wave subsides into the ocean, and realizes it was always only ocean. Ramana taught that this self, this true I, is already present. You don't need to create it or achieve it. You only need to stop misidentifying with what you are not. The self is self-luminous, it shines by its own light, like the sun that needs no other light to be seen. He used to say, there's no need to search for the self, because you are the self. The one who is searching is what is being sought. It's like someone forgetting they're wearing glasses and frantically searching for them. The moment they realize the glasses are already on, the search ends in laughter. The practice of self-inquiry doesn't require special circumstances. You don't need to be in a cave or a monastery. You can practice it right now, wherever you are. Any moment you notice you are identified with something, simply ask, who? Who is worried? Who is happy? Who is tired? Who is listening? And let the question draw you back to the source, to the pure I am that exists before all qualities, all conditions, all definitions. Ramana emphasized that the self is not an object of experience. You cannot see it, touch it, think it, or feel it. Because it is the subject, the experiencer, the one who sees, touches, thinks, and feels. To search for it as an object is to miss it entirely. Instead, the self must be recognized as what you already are. It's the awareness that's present right now, the consciousness reading these words, the knowing that knows. This simple awareness is the self. Nothing more is needed. When asked what happens at the moment of realization, Ramana would often laugh and say, nothing happens. You simply realize what has always been true. It's not a new experience, it's the recognition that all experiences appear in you, the eternal awareness. Some people think enlightenment is a dramatic event, a flash of light, a mystical experience, something extraordinary. But Ramana taught that it's utterly ordinary. It's simply being what you are, without the overlay of false identification. The realized person doesn't become superhuman. They simply stop being confused. They continue to function in the world, eating, sleeping, talking, working. But they know themselves as the awareness in which all this appears, not as the person doing these things. This is the state of Jivanmukti, liberation while living. The body-mind continues, but the identification with it has dissolved. Life goes on, but there's no longer anyone bound by life. The sense of separation has vanished, and only the one infinite consciousness remains. Ramana lived this truth completely. People who met him described an extraordinary peace in his presence, not because he was doing anything, but because he was simply resting as the self. His very being pointed to what we all are, beyond all concepts, all beliefs, all experiences. His final words as his body was dying were, "They say I am dying, but I am not going away. Where could I go? I am here." Because he knew himself as the eternal consciousness, death of the body was just another appearance, another wave subsiding into the ocean. This is the gift of self-inquiry, the recognition that you are not the temporary appearance, but the eternal presence. Not the wave, but the ocean. Not the thought, but the awareness. Not the person, but the infinite consciousness playing the role of a person. And this recognition brings a peace that nothing can disturb. Because when you know yourself as the unchanging witness, when you rest as the awareness that has never been born and can never die, what is there to fear? What can be threatened? What can be lost? The body will age and die, thoughts will come and go, circumstances will change. But you, the real you, remain forever untouched, forever free, forever at peace. Rest now in this understanding. Let the question, "Who am I?" dissolve into the silence of being. Don't search for an answer, simply rest as the question itself, as the awareness that asks. And in that rest, discover what Ramana discovered. That you are the self, you have always been the self, and you could never be anything other than the self. Be still and know yourself. Welcome to this deepening exploration of awareness itself. Allow your body to rest completely, your mind to become quiet and spacious. There's nothing to understand here, only to recognize. We've been peeling away the layers of false identification. We've learned to ask, "Who am I?" and trace the I thought to its source. Now, we explore the nature of the witness, the Sakshi, and how consciousness appears to become the many from the one. There's a teaching in Indian philosophy that's both simple and profound. The seer is always different from the seen. Whatever you can observe cannot be you. Because you are the observer, not the observed. This principle is called Trigdrishya Viveka, the discrimination between the seer and the seen. It's a systematic analysis that moves from the gross to the subtle, from the obvious to the most intimate, peeling back layer after layer until only pure awareness remains. Let's begin at the surface and move inward, gently, carefully, like an archaeologist uncovering ancient treasures. First, there are the objects of the external world: trees, buildings, sky, earth. These are clearly seen, they're out there, separate from you. Your eyes perceive them, your senses register them. These objects are not the seer, they are the seen. But what about the eyes themselves? Are the eyes the seer? At first, it seems so, the eyes see the world. But then you realize, you can close your eyes and know they're closed. You can feel when your eyes are tired or strained. This means there's something that observes the eyes, making the eyes themselves part of the scene. The eyes are instruments, tools of perception. But they're not the ultimate perceiver. They are observed, therefore, they cannot be the observer. Moving inward, what observes the eyes? The mind. The mind receives the signals from the senses and interprets them. The mind knows what the eyes see, what the ears hear, what the skin feels. So is the mind the ultimate seer? Again, observe carefully. You can watch your mind. You can notice when it's agitated or calm, focused or scattered. You can observe thoughts arising and passing. This proves that the mind itself is part of the scene, not the ultimate seer. Who observes the mind? The witness consciousness, the Sakshi. This is the awareness that knows all mental activity, that registers all thoughts, all emotions, all perceptions. The witness is not part of the mind. It's the light that illuminates the mind, making all mental activity known. The witness is like the screen in a movie theater. The screen doesn't participate in the movie. It doesn't get involved in the drama. It simply provides the surface on which the movie appears. In the same way, the witness doesn't participate in experience. It simply provides the awareness in which experience appears. This witness is what you truly are. Not a person watching, but the pure capacity to know, to be aware. It has no qualities of its own, because all qualities are objects that appear in it. It has no form, because all forms are seen by it. It has no limitations, because all limitations are objects within it. The witness is self-luminous. It doesn't need another light to illuminate it. Just as the sun illuminates everything but doesn't need another sun to illuminate itself, awareness is self-evident, self-knowing, self-existent. You cannot see the witness, because you are the witness. You cannot think the witness, because thoughts appear in the witness. You cannot experience the witness as an object, because the witness is the eternal subject. And yet, paradoxically, the witness is not separate from what it witnesses. This is where the teaching becomes beautifully subtle. The witness and the witnessed are not two different things. They are two aspects of the same consciousness. Think of a mirror and its reflections. The mirror is clear, empty, without content. But when objects appear before it, reflections arise in the mirror. The reflections are not separate from the mirror. They are the mirror appearing as forms. Without the mirror, no reflections. Without reflections, you wouldn't know the mirror is there. In the same way, consciousness is the mirror, and the world of experience is the reflection. The world appears in consciousness, is known by consciousness, is made of consciousness. There's only consciousness, appearing as both the subject and the object, the seer and the seen. This is explained through the concept of Chidbhasa, reflected consciousness. The pure, infinite consciousness. Brahman is like the sun. The individual mind is like a mirror. When the sun's light reflects in the mirror, a reflection appears, and this reflection seems to have its own light. Your personal sense of I, your individual awareness, is this reflection. It seems separate, limited, bound to a particular body-mind. But in truth, it's just the one consciousness reflected in the particular mirror of your mind. Different minds reflect consciousness differently, just as different mirrors create different reflections. A clear mirror reflects clearly, a distorted mirror reflects distortedly. This is why people have different levels of clarity, different capacities for understanding, different states of consciousness. But the original light, the source consciousness, is one. It's not personal, It's not individual, it's the universal awareness that pervades everything. The confusion arises when the reflection is mistaken for the original. When you think, I am this limited person. I am this body-mind. I am separate from everything else. This is identifying with the reflection rather than the source. It's like a character in a movie who forgets they're being projected on a screen and thinks they're an independent entity. But the character has no existence apart from the screen and the light. The character is nothing but the screen appearing in a particular form. In the same way, you have no existence apart from consciousness. You are consciousness, temporarily appearing in this particular form, with this particular mind, in this particular body. But your essence is the infinite consciousness, not the limited reflection. Suffering arises from this misidentification. When you identify with the reflection, with the body-mind, you inherit all its limitations. You feel mortal because the body dies. You feel inadequate because the mind is limited. You feel separate because the reflection seems cut off from other reflections. But when you recognize yourself as the original consciousness, as the source rather than the reflection, all suffering dissolves. Because the source is infinite, eternal, complete. Nothing can threaten it, nothing can limit it, nothing can harm it. The body may age and die, but you are not the body. You are the consciousness that illuminates the body, and that consciousness never dies. Thoughts may come and go, but you are not the thoughts. You are the awareness in which thoughts appear, and that awareness is always here. This recognition is the purpose of all these practices. Neti Neti, Atma Vichara, Drigdrishe Viveka. They're all pointing to the same truth. You are not the reflection, you are the light. You are not the wave, you are the ocean. You are not the limited individual, you are the infinite consciousness. And here's the beautiful mystery. From the perspective of the reflection, this seems like a great journey. The wave must find its way back to the ocean. The individual must realize their unity with the Absolute. But from the perspective of the source, there's nowhere to go. The wave was always only ocean. The reflection was always only light. You have always been the infinite consciousness. The spiritual journey is not about traveling from here to there. It's about recognizing what's already true. It's about waking up from the dream of separation and realizing you never left home. The witness, the Sakshi, is not somewhere far away. It's not something you need to develop or achieve. It's what you are right now, the awareness that's present in this very moment. The consciousness that's hearing these words, that's knowing this experience, that's simply being. Notice this awareness. It's utterly ordinary, utterly simple. There's nothing special about it, and yet it's the most extraordinary thing in existence. Because without it, nothing would be known, nothing would exist, at least not in your experience. This awareness is the ground of your being. It's the foundation on which everything else appears. And it's not separate from you. It's not something you possess. You are it. This is what you fundamentally are. The witness doesn't witness from a distance. It's intimately present, closer to you than your own breath. It's the am in I am, the being that simply is. Before all thoughts, before all experiences, before all appearances, there is simply this, awareness being aware of itself. Rest in this recognition. You don't need to create the witness or strengthen it. You only need to recognize it, to see that it's already here, always has been, always will be. The dance of consciousness continues, experiences arise, thoughts flow, life unfolds. But you are no longer lost in the dance, you are resting as the space in which the dance occurs. The witness that remains forever still, forever free, forever at peace. Be still and simply be. Welcome to this final segment of our journey through self-inquiry. Take a deep breath. Let everything settle into perfect stillness. You've come a long way, and now we complete the circle. We've explored the question, who am I? We've peeled away the layers of false identification. We've learned the methods of negation and direct inquiry. We've understood the nature of the witness. Now we turn to the most important question, what does this recognition mean for living? How does self-realization transform daily life? The goal of self-inquiry is not to become a different person. It's not about achieving special powers or mystical experiences. It's about liberation. Moksha in Sanskrit, the freedom from the fundamental confusion that causes all suffering. This liberation is described as Jivan Mukti, liberation while living. A Jivan Mukta is someone who has realized their true nature, who knows themselves as the infinite consciousness, not the limited person, but who continues to live in the world, in a body, engaging with life. From the outside, a Jivan Mukta may look like anyone else. They eat, sleep, work, interact. But from the inside, everything has changed. The identification with the body-mind has dissolved, and with it, all the fear, all the seeking, all the suffering that comes from feeling separate. What are the signs of this realization? What characterize the liberated life? First, there is freedom from the tyranny of the ego. The ego is the voice that constantly says, "What about me? How do I look? What do they think of me? Am I good enough?" The ego is insecure, always seeking validation, always afraid of rejection, always comparing itself to others. When self-realization dawns, the ego doesn't necessarily disappear, but it's no longer identified with. It continues as a functional tool for navigating the world, but it's recognized as a construct, not as who you are. When praise comes, the ego may feel pleasure, but you don't take it seriously. When criticism comes, the ego may feel hurt, but you remain untouched. This brings an extraordinary lightness to life. So much of human suffering comes from defending the ego, from trying to maintain a certain image, prove something, be someone. When the identification with the ego dissolves, all this effort is released. You can simply be, without pretense, without defense, without the constant need to prove your worth. Second, there is freedom from fear, particularly the fear of death. Most people live with an underlying anxiety, a sense that their existence is precarious, that at any moment they could cease to be. This fear colors everything. It drives the accumulation of security, the clinging to relationships, the desperate attempt to leave a legacy. But when you know yourself as the deathless awareness, when you recognize that you were never born and can never die, the fear of death evaporates. You see clearly, the body will die, but I am not the body. I am the consciousness that witnesses the body, and consciousness has no birth, no death. This doesn't mean the Jivan Mukta is indifferent to the body's well-being. They still take care of the body, still protect it from harm. But there's no existential terror, no deep-seated fear that death means annihilation. Death is just another appearance in consciousness, like sleep, like waking, like all experiences. Third, there is freedom from desire. This is subtle. It doesn't mean the Jivan Mukta has no preferences or doesn't enjoy things. They may enjoy food, music, nature, relationships. But the compulsive, driven quality of desire is gone. Desire arises from a sense of lack, from feeling incomplete, from believing that something external will make you whole. When you recognize yourself as the complete, infinite consciousness, there's nothing to lack, nothing to seek. You are already whole, you are already home. So preferences may arise. I prefer this to that, but there's no clinging. If you get what you prefer, fine. If you don't, also fine. The underlying peace is undisturbed, because your happiness doesn't depend on circumstances. This is what the Bhagavad Gita calls equal-mindedness. Samantvam. The Jivan Mukta is the same in success and failure, pleasure and pain, praise and blame. Not because they're suppressing their feelings, but because they're identified with the unchanging witness, not the changing experiences. Fourth, there is universal compassion. When the sense of being a separate self dissolves, when you recognize that the same consciousness animates all beings, the artificial boundaries between me and others disappear. You see your own self in everyone. The homeless person on the street, the difficult colleague at work, the stranger in another country, all are expressions of the same consciousness. Harming another would be like your right hand harming your left hand. It makes no sense. This compassion is not a moral duty or a spiritual practice. It arises naturally from the recognition of oneness. You can't help but care for all beings, because all beings are you, appearing in different forms. And yet, paradoxically, this universal love coexists with a perfect detachment. The Jivan Mukta cares deeply, but is not emotionally entangled. They help without becoming the helper, they give without needing gratitude, they love without needing anything in return. Fifth, there is spontaneity and presence. Most people live either in the past or the future, replaying old stories or anxiously planning ahead. The present moment is just a means to get to the next moment, which might finally bring happiness, success, fulfillment. But the Jivan Mukta lives in the eternal now. Not because they're trying to be present, but because they recognize that only now exists. The past is a memory arising now, the future is an imagination arising now. There is only this moment, this eternal present. This brings a freshness to life. Everything is new, because you are not overlaying old patterns onto fresh experience. You meet each moment as it is, not through the filter of past conditioning. Life becomes a dance, spontaneous, free, alive. The Indian tradition also speaks of the dissolution of vasanas, the deep-rooted tendencies and patterns that drive behavior. These vasanas are like grooves in the mind, created by repeated thoughts and actions. They make you react automatically to situations. For most people, life is largely mechanical, the same patterns playing out again and again. But in self-realization, these patterns begin to dissolve. Not through effort or suppression, but through the simple recognition that they're not who you are. When anger arises, instead of being anger, you witness it. When craving arises, instead of being driven by it, you see it as a passing wave. The patterns lose their grip, and behavior becomes more conscious, more free. This doesn't mean the Jivan Mukta is perfect in the conventional sense. They may still have preferences, quirks, habits. But these are recognized as surface phenomena, like ripples on water. The depth remains undisturbed. There's a beautiful teaching in Kashmir Shaivism that adds another dimension to this understanding. While Advaita Vedanta emphasizes the stillness and silence of pure awareness, Kashmir Shaivism celebrates the dynamic, creative aspect of consciousness. In this view, the world is not an illusion to be transcended, It's the spanda, the vibration or throb of consciousness itself. Reality is Shiva Shakti, consciousness and energy, stillness and movement, as inseparable aspects of one reality. From this perspective, the liberated being recognizes themselves not just as the witness, but as the creative power that manifests the universe. Every thought, every action, every experience is the play of your own consciousness, the divine expressing through this particular form. This brings a sense of wonder and celebration to life. You are not trying to escape the world or transcend experience, you are recognizing experience itself as divine. Every moment is sacred, because every moment is you, consciousness playing with itself. The Jivan Mukta in this tradition is described as one who has regained their swatantriya, their absolute freedom. They are no longer bound by the 5 limitations: limited knowledge, limited power, limited interest, limited time, limited attachment. They recognize themselves as the infinite, expressing through the finite. But whether we emphasize the stillness of Advait or the dynamism of Kashmir Shaivism, the essential recognition is the same: you are not the limited individual you appear to be. You are the infinite consciousness, and this recognition brings freedom. This freedom is not something that happens in the future. It's available right now, because you are already the free, infinite awareness. The only thing that makes you seem bound is identification, the belief that you are the body-mind. When this belief is questioned, when you ask, "Who am I?" and trace it back to the source, the illusion of bondage dissolves. And what remains is what has always been, the simple, undeniable presence of awareness, free, peaceful, complete. Living from this recognition doesn't mean you stop engaging with life. You continue to function, to work, to relate, to create. But the quality changes. There's no longer a sense of, "I'm doing this to get that," no longer a driven, goal-oriented quality to action. Action continues, but it's spontaneous, free, playful. Like a child building sandcastles, fully engaged in the activity, but not attached to the result. The sandcastle will wash away, and the child simply builds another. Life becomes like this: a play, a dance, a creative expression without serious consequences. This is the state the ancient sages called Sahaja, the natural state. Not something forced or cultivated, but the simple, effortless being that remains when all seeking stops. You are not trying to be enlightened, you are simply being what you are. And in this being, there is profound peace. Not the peace of getting what you want, but the peace of recognizing you already have everything. Not the peace of favorable circumstances, but the peace that transcends all circumstances. The peace that you are, eternally, unchangeably, completely. Modern science is beginning to validate what the ancient sages discovered. Studies show that meditation and self-inquiry reduce stress, lower blood pressure, improve mental health. People report feeling more peaceful, more present, more connected. But the sages would say, these benefits are side effects. The real gift is the recognition of your true nature. Everything else, peace, joy, love, are just expressions of what you fundamentally are. You are not a limited person seeking enlightenment. You are the infinite consciousness, temporarily pretending to be limited. And the spiritual journey is simply the process of remembering, of waking up from the dream, of recognizing what has always been true. This recognition may come suddenly, like Ramana Maharshi's realization at 17. Or it may unfold gradually, through years of practice and inquiry. But whenever it comes, however it comes, it's always a recognition of what already is. You don't become enlightened. You recognize that you've never been bound. You don't attain the self. You see that you've always been the self. You don't reach liberation. You see that you've always been free. This is the gift of self-inquiry, the precious teaching passed down through thousands of years. Not a belief system, not a philosophy to memorize, but a practice that can transform your entire experience of being alive. The question, "Who am I?" is an invitation to look deeper than you've ever looked, to question what you've always assumed, to discover what lies beneath every appearance. And when you look, really look, you find something extraordinary. You find that the one who's looking is what's being looked for. The seeker is the sought. The question dissolves into silence, and only pure, radiant awareness remains. This awareness, this consciousness, this simple presence that's here right now, this is who you are. Not a concept, not a belief, but the living, breathing truth of your existence. Rest in this truth. Let all seeking cease. Let all questions dissolve. You are home, you have always been home, you could never be anywhere else. The journey of self-inquiry completes itself, not by arriving somewhere new, but by recognizing you never left. Not by becoming something special, but by seeing clearly what you've always been. You are the infinite consciousness, the eternal witness, the unchanging presence. You are the awareness in which all experience arises, the peace that transcends all understanding, the love that includes all beings. This is not philosophy. This is not belief. This is the direct recognition of your true nature, available now, always now, only now. Be still, and simply be what you are. The truth is here, the truth is you, the truth is this. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Peace, peace, peace.